Welcome to Lady Learn-A-Lot's YouTube channel. We will be discussing the Vietnam essay, and please subscribe and like to this channel. Topic: explain to what extent the tactics and strategies that the Vietcong used against the USA Army were successful in containing the spread of capitalism in Vietnam between 1965 and 1975. Then you would respond by saying, South and North Vietnam were reunited as a communist country between 1965 and 1975. The Viet Cong used tactics and strategies unknown to the US Army, such as booby traps, underground tunnels, hit-and-run attacks, and the Tet Offensive. This is your introduction. Notice how it links to the topic. Next, I discuss the body. Remember, in history you don't write the word body. Vietnam was ruled by the French until 1954, when it was divided into North and South Vietnam. Ho Chi Minh ruled Communist North Vietnam, while Ngo Dinh Diem ruled capitalist South Vietnam. North Vietnam affected and influenced the Viet Cong in South Vietnam. After Japan invaded and occupied Vietnam in 1940, and after the Japanese were defeated in World War II, Ho Chi Minh declared Vietnam independent following the Geneva Conference. The North and South were supposed to reunite under one government following the 1956 elections. But Ngo Dinh Diem refused to hold the proposed election, angering the majority of South Vietnamese. People in South Vietnam were divided into two groups, capitalists and communists. There was a conflict between the South Vietnamese Army and the Communist South Vietnamese known as the Viet Cong. To prevent the spread of communism, America sent military advisors and soldiers to South Vietnam to prevent it from becoming communist. American soldiers were inexperienced and young. Because the American army was not trained in guerrilla warfare, it was difficult for them to fight an unknown enemy. Many American soldiers were returned in body bags. Because the US Army was not used to guerrilla warfare, the Viet Cong tactics and strategies were successful in containing the spread of capitalism in Vietnam. Because they had fought for liberation against the French Army and Japan, the Viet Cong were well organized and highly experienced. They had underground tunnels that they used against the United States Army. The Viet Cong operated in small groups, carried few weapons, and did not wear uniforms. The Viet Cong's most effective tactics and strategy against American soldiers were bamboo booby traps. The Viet Cong launched surprise attacks on American patrols before disappearing into the jungle. The Viet Cong tactics and strategies used against the US Army were effective in containing the spread of capitalism in Vietnam. Operation Rolling Thunder, launched in 1965, was a bombing campaign against North Vietnam. The goal was to cut the Viet Cong off from their northern support by destroying ports, army bases, and supply lines. Agent Orange was used to destroy vegetation that obscured the Ho Chi Minh Trail supply route, which was used to transport supplies from North Vietnam to the Viet Cong. Operation Rolling Thunder failed because it did not weaken North Vietnam's economy or the Viet Cong's will to fight. It had no effect on the flow of men and goods along the Ho Chi Minh Trail. Operation Rolling Thunder failed to spread capitalism in Vietnam. Furthermore, during the Tet Offensive in 1968, the Viet Cong were able to launch surprise attacks on major American bases. The Viet Cong were the masterminds behind the New Year's Day attacks on the United States, in which they used coffins as camouflage to transport weapons for farmers. Several towns and cities, as well as US air bases, were targeted. This revealed the Viet Cong's ability to strike Americans in the core. The Tet Offensive had a deeply negative impact on public opinion. As the war was covered by US media, American society became divided about the US involvement in the war, as there were those who supported the war and those who opposed it. The Viet Cong's Tet Offensive was a successful strategy in containing the spread of capitalism in Vietnam. The killing at My Lai village in March 1968 shocked Americans and the rest of the world. American soldiers believed My Lai village was a Viet Cong stronghold. American soldiers raped women and murdered men, women, and children who attempted to flee. It is estimated that 400 My Lai villagers were killed, with only 3 of them being identified as Viet Cong. Because of the Viet Cong's tactics and strategies, the American army was unable to spread capitalism in Vietnam. The American president withdrew American troops from Vietnam, and the country was re-established as a communist state. That's the end of the body that you will write in paragraph. Now you will skip a line and write your conclusion. As I will be reading, please notice how the conclusion links with the topic and the introduction. In conclusion, the tactics and strategies that the Viet Cong used against the USA Army were successful to a greater extent. That is all, my historians. Please do subscribe. Comment down below your thoughts on this essay. Like and share this video. Lady Learn a Lot wishes you good luck on those history essays. Until next time.